Excellent. So once again, hello everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And congratulations, you've been admitted to the University of Cincinnati. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and we will get started. So very first thing I'd like to do with you all is something to just get to know each other a little bit. So we've got about, I think, 15 people in the room, something like that. And I'm just going to do a quick poll. This is nothing personal. It's not for data. It's just to get to know each other a little bit, something super fast. So I just launched it and I'll go through this with you. First question, how big's your hometown? Where are you coming from? Somewhere small, medium-sized, large, or absolutely massive, a world center, more than 10 million people. What do you like to do most for fun? Do you enjoy music, movies, games, sports, or anything with friends, as long as you're with them? What type of environment or natural area do you like the most? Do you like forests, mountains, beaches, or cities settings? How's the weather outside right now? Hot, beautiful, cold, rainy, snowy? And then finally, what is the closest you've ever been to Cincinnati? Have you ever been to Cincinnati? Have you been to Ohio? Have you been to the US? Never been to the US? Great. So we're about half of you are done. There's 9, there's 10. I'll give it like 20 seconds more. All right, 10 seconds. And done. Let's see. Let's see what we got. All right, sharing with everyone. We actually have a mix. So it looks like a number of people are from smaller cities, some from large, but the majority are actually from medium-sized cities, somewhere between 100,000 and 1 million people. If you weren't aware, Cincinnati is the city proper itself is medium-sized, between 100,000 and 1 million, but there's a lot of development around the city, and so the total Cincinnati metropolitan area is large. It's about 2 million people. So it's a little bit larger than most of you might be accustomed to. What do you like to do for fun? Again, a very good mix: music, movies, games, sports, anything with friends. That's excellent because we have all of it, and we'll talk. Well, I'm sure you have some idea, but there's a lot of that available here at the University of Cincinnati as well. What type of environment do you like most? Wow, you guys are like even on a lot of these. Forests, mountains, cities, and beaches. So Cincinnati, of course, is a city, as I was saying before. It does have a lot of forest cover, so there's a lot of parks around the area. There's a lot of natural green spaces there. And then we're on the edge of the Appalachian Mountains. So it's a lot of rolling hills, but you're only like an hour or two away from actual Appalachian Mountains if you like hiking or any sort of activities like that. Beaches are a little bit far away, but we do have the other three. How's the weather in your hometown right now? Um, Again, pretty even. That's cool. It's not it's not raining or snowing outside right now. It's a little bit cold, so I guess we'd say that. And then what's the closest you've ever been? One of you's been to Cincinnati. Heyo, love that. Most of you have never been to the about half have been to the US, but no one's been to Ohio. So that's pretty cool. Just thought I'd share that we've got a lot of different countries here and a good mix of experiences. All right, let's get into the presentation. Um, I'm going to just start us off really quickly with an overview of what we're going to be looking at. Again, congratulations on being admitted. So in this presentation, there's four main things we're going to focus on. First, just a general overview, quick 5-10 minutes of what UC is. You all should know it mostly, but just in case there's something you're not familiar with. Second, the Bearcat Portal. So when you come to the University of Cincinnati, there's a lot of portals. Portals are basically websites where there are things that you need to do. So for example, when you're a student taking classes, there is a portal called Canvas that has all of your class information. We're going to go through two portals, the Bearcat Portal and then the iBearcatGlobal portal. Finally, we're going to talk about costs and important dates that are coming up that you need to be aware of. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce myself and some of our team here. My name is Seth Higginbotham. I'm the Assistant Director on our global recruitment team at the University of Cincinnati. I do work specifically with the Latin America and Caribbean territories, but I've worked with many students from all around the world. I'm so happy to be here with you all today. I did study at UC. My undergrad's in aerospace engineering, and I'm doing my master's currently in political science. With me, I also have a pair of student workers that I'd like to introduce. Miguel, if you don't mind taking a few seconds to share yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, hello everyone. My name is Miguel Garcia. I am from Guatemala. I'm an international ambassador. We working along with Seth, and I'm very excited that you're all here. I'm majoring in international business and business analytics, and yeah, very excited.
Thank you. And Mohammed, could you please introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, for sure. Hi, I'm Mohammed. My home country is India. I'm a second year computer science major here, and I started working with the Office of Admissions as an international ambassador back in September. And yeah, nice to be here with you guys.
Great. Thank you so much. And we'll be hearing from them both in a few minutes, actually. So at the University of Cincinnati, we have three more main pillars that we stand on: tradition, innovation, excellence. Very briefly, tradition, we are an old institution, more than 200 years old. And that goes back to a lot of programs. So for example, our law program did produce some US presidents back about 100 years ago. So that was cool. Innovation is something that we stand on. We are a Research One university, which basically means we get a lot of funding to conduct research. One really famous innovation that we've discovered here at the University of Cincinnati, what to pick? Benadryl is a good one, the first anti-allergy medicine that was released in the world. So if you have allergies, the solution or the first medicine was discovered here at UC. And excellence. So our faculty, as I mentioned before, they're all research faculty and they're conducting research at the highest levels. To give just two quick examples from my own experience in aerospace and political science, Neil Armstrong used to teach here after he retired from NASA. He came and worked in our aerospace department. And one of our current professors is the former ambassador to Mexico from the United States. So that's obviously a very powerful relationship and pretty much the highest levels of diplomacy that you can get. So it's pretty cool to be able to take class and ask about what politics is like at the highest level. A few quick notes. I'm just going to leave this on the screen. I'm not going to read everything, and I'm sure some of you have seen some of this information before. But while we're here, I'm going to turn it over to Miguel and Mohammed. Um, could you both please share just one experience that you've had at UC related to a community or a group of students or people you've interacted with, or something you think might be interesting for students? We'll start with you, Miguel.
Yeah, absolutely. So during my sophomore year, I got the opportunity to do a study abroad in I went to Italy. I was there for the semester. It was great. I got to experience, the Italian culture. I got to make a lot of friends from around America and at the same time from around Europe. It was great. It really is nice to see that, UC has like many opportunities to do things like that. Like I previously mentioned, majoring in international business, so getting to see the business aspect of it, it was very important to me and very interesting. And just like that, there are like many other programs for different majors as well. So yeah, it was a really, really nice experience.
Great, thanks, Miguel. And Mohammed, is there anything you want to share as far as your experience at UC or some sort of community you found?
Yep, for sure. So during my first year, I got involved with ACM, which is a student organization here, and I kind of met a lot of people there, who kind of helped me to like get used to the university and like settle in. And I made a lot of friends from that who are still like in a lot of my classes, and we talk a lot.
Great. Appreciate that so much. Thank you. Hopefully that's given you guys enough time to kind of look through that. I'm sure it's not too unfamiliar to you all since you applied. One area I do want to spend a little bit more time on is the city itself. I think only one of you said you've ever been to Cincinnati, and that might be one of you two, Miguel or Mohammed, who answered that. So a lot of you aren't particularly familiar with the city itself. It has been ranked one of the top cities for college graduates, and that's essentially because it's a lot less expensive than a lot of cities in the United States, but it has a lot of different amenities or different um, experiences available for students. So just as a quick example, we have the world's second largest Oktoberfest outside of Munich, Germany. So that's a very big German heritage festival that takes place a little bit later on in the year. And beyond that, there's lots of other festivals. So I won't go into all of them, but there's lots of food festivals and cultural celebrations throughout the year on top of professional sports teams, museums, theaters, aquariums, etc., etc. I am going to pull out of this really quickly um, and just open a new browser for you all. In case you haven't looked on a map necessarily where Cincinnati is or how it's kind of located. So it is here in the southwestern corner of Ohio. And the city proper is within this 275 interstate loop, the highway loop. The university itself is this square right here. So everything within this are university buildings. And then to the top right, to the northeast, there's another square. So the College of Medicine is here. If in your later years, maybe in your third year, your fourth year, you might have some classes here. If you have internships, anything that's related to the field of medicine, it might be here. To the north of campus is a beautiful park. A lot of students go there for recreation. And then the rest of this neighborhood, it's called Clifton. So all this area and this area and this area and up here, like this whole area is basically either students or people that support students in some capacity or that support the university in some capacity. So there's lots of restaurants, there's a theater here, a grocery store here, um, parks located around it, lots of student housing, different things to do. That's essentially, I mean, a zoo and botanical gardens right here. And this is essentially the neighborhood that the university is in. So when you come here, you would live on campus your first year. But in general, this entire neighborhood would pretty much be your home. And then as you expand out, perhaps in your later years, you explore more of the city. There's the downtown area here. There's a lot of things to do there. Across the river, there's a lot to do in Covington or Newport. And then you have the broader Cincinnati area. And it's also, if you want to take a road trip or a short flight, it's also relatively close to a lot of major cities like Columbus, Indianapolis, Louisville, Chicago's right here. Or a little bit further is Washington, D.C., New York City, etc. So that's just giving you an idea kind of what exists and where the university is located. It's right in the heart of the city of Cincinnati. All right. Let's continue. Now, please feel free to ask any questions that you might have in the chat, or if you want to unmute and mic, ask them. We'll answer those at the end. What are you getting when you come to the University of Cincinnati? Three things: a degree, a resume, and a plan for your future. So you're probably well aware, but our main one of the reasons why we have a lot of international students is essentially for the experiences that they can have, such as Miguel and Mohammed were talking about regarding work experience or international experiences, or just things where they're able to interact with a lot of students and develop a resume through those experiences. When you graduate, you'll have that and you'll have an idea what exactly you want to do moving forward. You all applied here, you're probably well aware of this. I'm not going to belabor the point, but experiential learning and cooperative education are two of the main things that we're known for. I'm just going to leave this up on the screen. And I would like to hear some of your experiences, Mohammed and Miguel, as far as it relates to experiential learning or cooperative education, or something that you've done that's somewhat related to academics or outside the classroom, work experiences, something like that. Mohammed, could you go first?
Yeah, for sure. So, I actually live off campus, and near where I live, there's a library, and I've been volunteering there for about a year now, and I've kind of just learned a lot about like customer service and a lot of things like that Since I've not been on a co-op yet, I hope are gonna help me get my first co-op, hopefully.
There you go. Thanks, Mohammed. And Miguel, could you share a little bit of your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the Linder College of Business, internships are highly encouraged. During my 3 years there, and I've done two different internships. One has been with Anchor Technologies, and the other one has been with Fifth Third Bank, which is a regional bank here in Cincinnati. They're both really, really nice. I think having that experience, hands-on experience, it's very important. That and also, networking, meeting a lot of people outside of the classroom. You get a lot of um, knowledge within the class, but also outside of the class, and having the support of Cincinnati, getting this kind of experiences really, really set you for the next steps, for a job later on and stuff. So yeah, they were both really, really nice, and they were both here in Cincinnati downtown. I really like being around here. It was over the summer. You can spread it out. You can do it in different times, but I usually do it over the summer. So yeah, it was great.
Thanks, Mohammed and Miguel. Appreciate that perspective. So just to finish it off, and we can come back to this a little bit later on if you do have more questions, but we do have students co-op with more than 1,500 companies in many different countries around the world. They could be major, large companies in California or Texas or a different country entirely. They could be smaller companies or local companies, startups. There's a very wide variety of co-op opportunities and internship opportunities available for our students. As Miguel mentioned, some of the time, well, as Miguel mentioned, you do follow a different schedule when you're doing co-ops. That can be flexible. So Miguel said he did his during the summer. There's some students who do them in the spring or kind of alternating semesters. The programs, the colleges will work with you and um, kind of help you, guide you through the process of getting the co-op itself, and then making it work with your academics to be able to help um, develop your resume and then also afford the University of Cincinnati financially by getting that co-op income. All right, we can come back to that if needed. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of this presentation. So the two things that are most important for you right now to learn as a admitted student. So two main portals. We're going to start with the Bearcat Portal. You probably have received an email of the Bearcat Portal. This is where most of your task will lie related to things you need to do before you come to the University of Cincinnati. I'm going to read a little bit of the screen. Sorry for boring you guys, but to access the portal, you'll need to log in with your UC username and password. You should have gotten an email with that. The first time that you log in, you'll have a default password, UC exclamation point, and then your full date of birth in that particular format. There are some students who do get locked out, and it takes a little bit of time to get them back into the system, and that's essentially just from not changing your default password. So please make sure to change that so that you're able to enter in the future. And we can help you out with that. If you have questions, ask your territory manager, and we'll help you resolve that. Something else that you'll need and be using all the time at the University of Cincinnati is the Duo two-factor authentication. So essentially, in the United States, there is security risks. A lot of people try to steal data. I'm sure that happens in your countries as well. It's something that happens here too. So in order to mitigate some of that and help protect and control your data, we do use this two-factor authentication. It's very easy to access. You just download this app on your phone. I honestly have no idea why it has a 2-star review. Like I've never had issues with it. I don't know if you guys have had issues, but basically you just download it, and then when you're trying to log in, it says, "Is this you? Yes, no," and that's it. So it just helps to keep security. All right, so you do the authentication, you get into the Bearcat portal, you've logged in, whatever. What actually is this portal, and what do you need to do in it? You'll see lots of different tasks and resources in here, as well as important dates. We're going to go through a number of them in a minute, but the first one that you'll need to do is to confirm your admission. So that's essentially saying, do you want to come to the University of Cincinnati? Yes, no, and then that's it. So you confirm. Once you confirm, you'll unlock a lot of other things. They're like, okay, how do you actually get here logistically? What do you need to do? So that's the first question. You're admitted, make it official. You say, yes, I want to confirm. I'm excited to be a Bearcat and to be in the Bearcat family. Congratulations. What happens next? You'll receive an email to set up your University of Cincinnati email address. So that will come to you, and that will be pretty simple. It will be your same login information that you already have. That will become your email address at UC. And just to emphasize it, if you've not been made aware already during this admissions process, but email is the way things function in university life and at the University of Cincinnati. A lot of important information goes to your email. You should check it, if not every day, every couple of days at least, just because you might get emails from professors, you might get emails about student organizations, things related to housing, job offers, orientation. Like there's just a lot of important life things that will come in through email. So just that's how it works. Get used to it, and make sure you check it. And from us as well. You'll be getting a lot of stuff in there related to the enrollment process. All right. So you have your email set up. You're in the Bearcat portal. Let's go through each of the different items in here. Sorry, I'm going to mute this. Up, up, yeah, I should have done this before it started. My apologies, everyone. Okay, muted. Done. All right. So what's first? Authorization to use financial aid. So this is essentially saying, is it okay if we apply your scholarship or your financial aid to your student bill? It's just like a legal question. You should say yes, because that's the whole point of it. If you say no, you don't get it. So just say yes. Super easy. Second one, applying for housing. This is a very big topic. So first year students are required to live on campus for 1 year minimum on campus housing. You are guaranteed housing. You will have a room available for you. There's a lot of different styles. There's a suite, a junior suite, traditional, apartment style, and they do have different associated costs. So I recommend taking some time and um, looking at the different options online, watch a few videos, see, okay, this is what I'm most interested in. When you actually apply for housing, it is a different portal entirely, and there's different trainings that you can watch as well. It's pretty straightforward, but there are different trainings if you're interested in specifically how that works. You can go find those. But this is something that you need to do before you come to the University of Cincinnati. The reason why that we require on-campus housing for international students is not just international students. Actually, it's anyone outside a 80-kilometer radius. Basically, a lot of research has gone into student success as far as who thrives in the university setting. And for those that are further away, having a built-in support network in the first year goes a very long way to making you a successful student and a successful post-graduation outcomes as well. So this is basically just um, founded that it is for student success. I'm sorry if you're not interested in living on campus, it is required. All right, so you go in, you complete the housing contract. There's a lot of questions in there like, uh, do you want to live with a smoker? Yes, no. Do you want to live with a friend? And then you can type the friend's name and they type your name and then you can both live together. Do you want to live with someone that's messy or not messy? Do you want to live with someone that's a night owl that wakes up at night or wakes up in the morning or stays up at night or wakes up in the morning? Whatever. They ask lots of questions and then they kind of match you with someone who might be a good fit for you, unless you pick, something like apartment style where you might be living on your own. So there's just a couple of different options. All right, that's where that's located. Next, we do require a math placement test for students. So this is essentially if you need to take any STEM courses or any math courses. So if you're in a business program or whatever else, any of the sciences or engineering, etc. This is just to make sure to see if you can actually test out of any classes. So pretty cool. It's in your best interest to try and do well on this. Um, So that math placement test is a requirement. It's just one of 5 options here. Ask me questions if you want. There's a pre-enrollment questionnaire. This doesn't really have uh, it's just a few more legal questions as far as how you want to um, be classified, what sort of information you want to receive from the University of Cincinnati while you're a student here. Questions about plans for coming into the campus, what you want to do when you graduate, things that just kind of help provide you with additional support from the university that you might not otherwise get if you don't indicate it somewhere else. So that's what that is. Orientation. Orientation's a super important one. So this is essentially getting you familiar with the university as far as where your classes are located, where the different amenities are. So for example, we have um, a mental health services center. We have a wellness center where you can go and you can get um, access to, let's say you run out of something like, I don't know, toothpaste, or you want something related to sexual health or whatever, you can go there and pick up some of those items. So it's just making you aware what exists, what is there on campus available for you. As an example, you can rent bicycles. You can go to the bike kitchen on campus, give them your student ID, they'll write down your name, and you can rent a bicycle for 2 weeks and then bring the bicycle back 2 weeks later. So things like that that you just might not know exist. That's a lot of what this orientation covers. It helps you learn about how to schedule classes, everything like that. All right, let's keep going. And then a picture. That's pretty straightforward. So that's everything in the Bearcat portal. You have to complete these tasks in order to enroll. They're not too terribly difficult, but if you have questions, please let me know. Let's get into the next portal. So the second portal I'm going to touch on is the iBearcat's global portal. So up until now, you have been working with the International Admissions Office. So we essentially work with you from the first time that you're interested in the University of Cincinnati all the way through to when you become an actual student and you're at the university. Once you are at the University of Cincinnati, there's a different department that will help support you in many different ways, and that department is called International Services. So this is your introduction to them. One of the main tasks that they do, well, they do a lot of like event planning, and they have like a holy event and Diwali and Chinese New Year. They do a lot of events like that. But beyond programming, they also support you as far as making sure you're in the United States legally and you don't have any issues with the government when you're working or when uh, you want to go abroad to Italy and come back and not not have any legal issues. They are the ones that handle that and make sure you do it correctly. So, coming to the United States, they will help you with that as well. Please, when you get this email, go ahead and come to this website and make a new login. Make sure you click this new student scholar login. It's highlighted here in yellow. Don't just click login with your other information. You need to make a new account. They'll ask you to make an account. You go through that. Pretty standard stuff. And then once you get in, there are a number of links and pages here. I'm going to do a brief overview. There's a whole nother training and video for this if you're interested later on, but this is just like to get you a general idea of what you need to do. First thing they'll request is for you to provide some information regarding pre-arrival. So that's everything as far as information that will be needed in order to help get you an I-20. Let me explain that. So to come to the United States as a student, you'll come here on an F1 visa. Most of you, there are some exceptions, but an F1 visa is a student visa. To get the F1 visa, you need a university to give you an I-20. An I-20 is a document saying, yes, you are going to come here and you'll study here, and that's great, and we're excited to have you. To get that, you have to use this portal and then answer a lot of these questions and give forms. Here, they will ask you to provide different immigration related documents. So things like, for example, proof of finances, proof that you'll be able to afford to live in the University of Cincinnati. And this is required by the state government, actually. And basically the idea is that we don't want students to come here and then be homeless or not be able to afford food. That's not good for you. That's not good for us. That doesn't make sense. So that's the basic proof of finances and why that's required. Also, other questions like, um, I don't know, I'm not going to go into the details, but there are several questions related to immigration there. Continuing onward, um, let's see, cost and finances, create your account. If you have studied at a different university in the United States previously, you have something that's called a CVIS record. That's basically just your American education record. And then if you're transferring in, you'll want to say, yes, I want to transfer that. It's pretty simple. Um, let's see, asking about city of birth, country of birth, if you've been to the United States before, when you came to the United States. So pretty standard immigration type questions. Funding. Are you coming with children? Are you married? Did you get a scholarship? This is important. So if you've been awarded a scholarship, you do have to provide that to them separately. So they just ask you to upload a PDF, and that's the email. If you've been awarded a scholarship, you'll have received that in an email from us. I'll talk about money a little bit further on, but basically just whatever email you get, that's what you give to services. Um, and then, well, I'll talk about finances in a minute. Okay, so you do all that. They give you the I-20. You schedule an interview with with the American consulate or the American embassy in your country. You go, you have your interview, and they give you the visa. Congratulations. Now you can fly to the US, you can enter the country and check in. And then just tell them when you arrive, because if not, like they won't know to support you more in the future. All right. So a few things that I want to add on with that. I'm sure you all have questions, but just as I think of them, the University of Cincinnati does have a shuttle service that goes from the airport to the university itself. So Cincinnati has a pretty decent sized airport. It is located in Kentucky, though. It's about 20 minutes away from the city of Cincinnati. But we do provide shuttles for students to be able to fly in, get on the shuttle, and go to the university. What else? Hmm. Oh, I had another one and I forgot it. Sorry, guys. If you have questions, let me know. I'm going to keep rolling. Let's talk about money and finances and scholarships. So this is the third big one. I imagine most of you are admitted to the main campus. I do want to share we do have two other regional campuses, Blue Ash and Claremont. I'll discuss them very briefly, and then I'll focus on the main campus. So for the regional campuses, the tuition is about half as much. They do not have all the same programs available to them, but you may be able to start at them for the first 2 years. They are 2-year programs, and then transition to the main campus. They are located about, Blue Ash is about 15 minutes away by shuttle, and it is possible to only take classes at Blue Ash. So to live on main campus and then take the shuttle to Blue Ash just for your classes, and then come back to main campus for your housing or to be with friends or student organizations or sports or whatever you want to do on the main campus. That is something that's possible. If you are curious or want to learn more about that, let me know. The scholarships are slightly different for students who go to Blue Ash. I can talk more about that if you're interested, but just that may or may not be an option if finances are super tight or very difficult. That might be something to consider, and I can talk more about that if you want. But let's focus on main campus. So here in this leftmost column, I'm hoping this is not a surprise for many of you. It might be, but let's go through some of these numbers. So first box here, we have tuition and fees. This is how much is expected to be paid to the University of Cincinnati per year. So that's the tuition plus all the different fees that are associated with that. So something like student life fee or anything like that. So 30,000 a year. If we go back to this slide, if you are in a co-op program or you want to do internships, it's better to think of that $30,000 as $15,000 per semester. So if we look at this right part of the right-hand side of the screen, let's say you're in year 2. In the fall, you would pay 15,000 in tuition for that first semester. And then when you go on co-op, you would not pay that tuition because you're not taking classes. But in the summer, when you're taking classes again, you'd pay the 15,000. So for the whole year, it would be 30,000. If you go to year 3, you'd co-op, you'd work, earn money, and then in school, you would pay the 15,000 tuition, but then you'd go back on co-op, so you would not pay the tuition. So that year would be just the one semester, just the 15,000. Same for year 4, it would just be the 15,000 tuition. So it's better to think of this as really 15,000 per semester. And then your schedule might vary depending on what you're studying and depending on how you do co-ops or other experiences. Okay, any scholarships that you receive are going to come off of this tuition number. I'll talk about scholarships again when I finish this, but basically, let's say you get a $10,000 per year scholarship. That essentially means instead of paying 30,000 tuition, you'll pay 20,000 tuition. So in that first semester, well, per semester, you'd be paying about $10,000 per semester. Hopefully that makes sense. If you get a larger scholarship, it's just coming off of this 30,000 tuition. There have been some students that are able to stack different scholarships to get up to a higher amount and essentially get this tuition much, much lower or closer to zero in some cases. So that's tuition and fees. Let's talk about living expenses. Living expenses is the number that comes from the Ohio state government. And it's essentially what I was saying as far as not wanting anyone to be here to be homeless or not be able to eat, whatever. So that's what that number comes from. If you go to our housing website, I'm going to see if I can, University Cincinnati Housing Cohort 2024-25. Cool. I recommend you check out our website, but here's an example. If you actually go to our website and see what the costs are, they are a little bit lower. This is just for the room. If you do a room and a full meal plan, so unlimited food, you can see even so, they are still a little bit lower than that published amount, depending on what the room type is. They're a little bit different. But essentially, that's what that living expenses is. So that is something that during your first year, yes, you would pay it to the University of Cincinnati because you would be living on campus. In your subsequent years, in your second year, third year, fourth year, you would not be paying that to the University of Cincinnati. Perhaps you'd be paying that to, wherever you happen to live. Maybe you're on co-op or on an internship or study abroad in Italy. You're definitely not paying that to the University of Cincinnati. All right, last one, health insurance. That is something that's required. If you don't have an international health insurance accepted in the United States, you are required to have the University of Cincinnati health insurance, which is that 2,400 amount. So total cost is 50,000 minus whatever scholarships you have, minus whatever co-op income you get, because again, remember, during your co-op semesters, you are not paying tuition. So if you happen to be working with a company and getting paid, I don't know, let's say $20 an hour, $18 an hour, or something like that, you'll earn about, let me do the math, $12,000, $13,000, something like that during one of these semesters, which of course, should be more than you're spending, hopefully. So you'll be able to take some of that into your upcoming future semesters. All right, so that was a lot about the finances. For scholarships, just to finalize that conversation, initial awards have been sent out to everyone. If you are interested in more scholarships or want to continue the conversation, I recommend talking with your territory manager about that. I'll share territory manager information here at the end if you don't know who those are, but I do recommend that. Really briefly, this is a little bit related to cost, not too much, but Miguel and Mohammed, we were talking about housing briefly before. I said housing's required on first for first year students. Could either of you tell me about what your experience was like living on campus? Sorry, maybe it wasn't the appropriate section to do that, but why not? How was your experience living on campus? We'll start with Miguel this time.
No, yeah. Living on campus was great. I think Seth mentioned this, and it does help you thrive. When in your classes and everything that you do on campus. I remember back in my freshman year, that was the time I made really close friends. That was the time I made connections. It was really, really nice to be on campus and to attend to all these events that they would have throughout the day, every week. So it was, I highly encourage if you have the opportunity. My dorm was Turner. It is, I believe it is a junior suite. So it was not too big, not too small. It was perfect for me and my friends. It was really nice. We had dining halls all around. When you're on campus, getting food is really easy. You just, you know, cross the street and there's a dining hall right there. So it was really nice. All the events that they have, they would usually have a few when, it's really nice out. A lot of people would gather, play sports. If you're into soccer, you could play soccer. If you're into volleyball, there's a sand volleyball as well. The rec center, which is a place where people go work out and, hang out, make friends. It is really nice. It's on campus as well. So yeah, it was a really, really nice time. Wish I could be back during those days.
But yeah, right. I feel the same. Mohammed, how about you?
Yeah, so I actually didn't live on campus. I lived
Mhm.
off campus my first year, but I do have a lot of friends. Like most of my friends actually do live on campus and always like in between classes, like they always go home to like take a nap or something, whereas I have to like stay in the library because I live off campus like 30 minutes away. So it's definitely great to live on campus, I'd say.
Yeah, and that's a really good point we made, Mohammed. A lot of students, well, many of them are li going to be living on campus. I mean, it's a large university. You're going to have some adult learners or people that are gasp like my age in your classes or older. Um, but then it's also possible that there's a lot of commuters, that there's people who are coming from community college, international students. It's really a wide mix of students, and it's a pretty diverse student body as far as experience, background, and whatnot that you'll have in your classes with you. All right. Last little piece of information I've got for you guys, and then we'll open it up for questions. So, important dates. If there's any slide to take a screenshot of or write down or whatever, it's this one. Let's go through them. January 28th, it already passed. That is when admissions and scholarship notifications went out for everyone that applied by December 1st. You all obviously did. You were admitted. Congratulations. Happy to have you here. And then scholarships went out for everyone that's outside of the tri-state area, meaning people that are not immediately located in Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky, which I don't think, based on that quick survey at the beginning, I don't think anyone was. For anyone that is located like within the city of Cincinnati, there's some like Mohammed, for example, who's a little half hour away, but an international student. Those students would get notifications within of their scholarships here on February 11th. So if anyone's watching this recording, that's when to expect it. And finally, for the four big dates, the important ones, May 1st, that is the confirmation deadline. If you remember at the beginning of this presentation, step one is to confirm. You confirm, awesome, that unlocks everything else, and we can start with the logistical
زين
side. If you don't,
دايما لك عنك أنا أقدر
oh, I'm gonna mute
محمد
you.
صح
Sorry.
بيتزا
Uh,
بيتزا
all right. Sorry. Um, so confirmation deadline, May 1st. Housing deadline's also May 1st. So the housing application is open now. Apply as soon as possible. Basically, they do things on a rolling basis. So yes, you are guaranteed housing, but you might not get your first choice if you apply like April 30th. or something. So the sooner you apply, the higher up on the list your name is to be able to get the housing that you want. So it's basically first come, first serves. So if you want good housing, apply sooner. It's a pretty simple system. After that, you've got the checklist that you've got to get through. July 11th is the deadline to attend the pre-orientation. And you must do this, or else they will cancel your housing contract. You'll get a million emails. Um, Basically, they're trying to figure out who is actually going to show up at the University of Cincinnati and who is not, so that if there's someone who doesn't get the housing that they want, they'll be able to get the housing they want because they know, okay, this person said they're coming, but they're not really coming. So that's why there's a couple of these dates in here to keep your housing contract. Basically, just do the checklist. July 11th is that date. Again, you'll get bells and whistles and flags everywhere to do it by July 11th. You won't miss it. And then the second one is August 1st. That's the deadline to enroll in classes. You'll have the opportunity to meet with an advisor to talk to you specifically about what your major is and what your program is, to schedule those classes, and you'll be able to enroll in classes. Have to do that to keep the housing contract. And then finally, classes begin August 25th. I do recommend you come about 1 week before classes start. We have something that's called Welcome Week for our new students, and it's really fun. There's multiple events going on simultaneously every single moment of every day. So it's really kind of overwhelming, but it's a lot of fun, and you'll really enjoy it coming to UC for the first time. Yeah, so that's when classes start. Your F1 visa will actually allow you to enter the country up to a month before classes start. So that would be like July 25th or so. It's 30 days, not a month, but so in theory, if you want to if you have family or something somewhere, you could go or you want to travel, you could go and do that before classes start. But I recommend not coming to Cincinnati until the actual week before classes start. You'll get emails about when you're able to enter housing. There's a little bit of early entry to housing, but in general, a week before classes start is ideal. All right, I think that's everything. Here is some general contact information. If you want to talk to me or anyone else, I'll provide that information on the next slide. Services we talked about, they're the ones who help you with visas and everything like that. Orientation, they get you used to the university. You have to do a session with them. Housing, pretty obvious. Enrollment services they can help with other logistical questions, but I'd recommend coming to us first as international students. This is our team. Hannah Gurman, myself, Lynn Hickerud, and Zion Simpson, and our internationally located team, Tan Nguyen, Grace Zhang or Ying Zhang, Sanjay Jain, and Gitanjali Aurora. Chances are you probably recognize at least one of us or have talked to at least one of us. We're really excited to have you here and would love to continue talking with you all. So here's our information. This will be going up on YouTube in a few minutes. So you'll be able to see that there as well. Then you'll get an email sent with that link. We are, of course, on all of the social medias. That might be how you found us to begin with. But you can follow our international specific page for more updates and to stay up to date as far as what's happening with admissions. So that's all I have. What questions do you guys have? All right, I had a question. Hello, can I please have a copy of the PDF and presentation to later discuss it with my parents, introducing them to the process? Yes, that is a great question. I do recommend you to talk to your parents, of course, about all of this. And again, I'll post it on YouTube, so I'm happy to share that out, the link out with everyone so they're able to see this, skip to the specific slides, look at the information more carefully. Okay, got another message. Hi, a question regarding co-ops. Yeah, and please provide the presentation with us. Definitely. I'm not going to be able to send the actual presentation out just because it might be edited and then released somewhere else. But I will share this video with everyone so that you all can see the presentation again and look at the individual slides. Question. I've received, oh gosh, all the questions coming in hot and heavy. Probably should have given you guys more time for questions. Sorry, all. Um, so I'll start with you, MS Rafan. I've received the 15,000 CES International Outreach Scholarship. After deducting my scholarship, how much financial proof do I need to show on my bank statement for the I-20 process? Great question. So if we go back to this screen, again, to get the I-20, that's what you need to get the visa to enter the country. What they are looking for is proof of 1 year of finances so that you can financially survive 1 year. What that means is this total number minus whatever scholarship you got. So in your case, SM Rafan, you would have this $50,000 minus your $15,000, so that's 35,000 is what you would need to show as proof of finances. If you get more scholarships, that's less that you have to show. Fewer scholarships, obviously more that you have to show. If you attend the Blue Ash College, scholarships are smaller, but again, the total amount is smaller, so that's how that works. All right, but it's 1 year of finances. Another question. Hi, I've been admitted to the computer science program with a scholarship. I recently got admitted to this honors college. I want to ask, are there any scholarships associated with the honors college? I know Vittoria was in the honors program. I'm not sure Mohammed or Miguel, are either of you in honors? If not, I'll take the question.
Yeah, I just got into honors this year. I'm not too sure about scholarships, but I know that they do funds and grants for like specific activities. So that's one thing, maybe.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I did honors when I was in my undergrad as well. And there's not a entry scholarship per se, but if you have something, use myself as an example. I wanted to go to Argentina for a work experience that was there developing satellites for a company. And they determined that it wasn't a high enough salary they're going to pay to me. So the honors program was able to give me a grant of additional money to be able to go there and have that experience. So they helped pay for a lot of that. Um, that's just one example of how the honors program can help you out as far as if there's something specific that you want to do and you don't necessarily want to pay for it yourself or have the ability to pay for it for yourself, they can help with that. All right, another questions. Back to the computer set. I will say actually there are some colleges that also have honors programs and they also have scholarships related to those honors programs. So like the Lindner College of Business, they have an honors program and they do give scholarships with that. So there might be some other things that you're accepted to that might give you funding in a different way. Different question. Do I have to apply for scholarships separately for the February 11th notification date? So the February 11th is only for students that are within the Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky area, and there is no separate application for that. If you're outside of those three states, you'll already have received your initial scholarship offer. Next question. As an international student, how can I complete my 5 semesters of co-ops while still maintaining my OPT? That's a great question. I'm not sure if either of you want to answer that or if you'd like me to do so. How can you do co-ops and keep your OPT?
Yeah, sure, I can talk about that. So when you're in your undergrad, there's going to be two different things. There's CPT and OPT. OPT is usually the time that you get after you graduate. So after your 4 or 5 years of college, you will have a time called OPT. But when you're in your undergrad and when you're in school, you have CPT. You have I believe it's 365 hours. And
It
when you
is.
go over
Yes.
that, it is OPT. So you should be fine with OPT. You have CPT plenty of time. So yeah, so you should be all fine. I would highly recommend talking to your academic advisor and professional coach um, to pursue that.
Sure. I'll just add a little bit onto that. So Miguel was right with the 365 days of CPT, and that adds up to roughly 3 co-op semesters. So international students, they do have that 3 co-op um, hard limit within the US. However, I've seen a lot of international students do other things. So, for example, something that's common is working with multinational companies. So you work with one company that has a location in the US, and then you go to their location in Canada or Europe or whatever. And that, of course, will not count against you for CPT. Other things might be doing research on campus, paid research. So that's something that when it's located within the university boundaries, um, wouldn't count against that. You have 20 hours on campus work as well. And then, so there's just a little bit of flexibility for the last two co-ops. Essentially, if you are in a 5 co-op program, um, our previous international student ambassador, Victoria, she's actually going to France for an aerospace engineering co-op. She's preparing for that, so that's pretty cool. But that's something that's um, quite popular with the students. And then basically that's only applicable for the engineering students or computer science students. They're the ones who would have to think about that. One other point is that you actually can use the OPT while you are a current undergraduate student. It's just you will not receive that OPT after you graduate then. So you can basically tap into it early if that's something that you want to do. If you think, okay, I don't want to be in the United States 10 years, 5 years is fine. Um, then, or I don't want to be in the US 8 years, 5 years is fine. Then you can actually use that OPT as an undergraduate student, and that could be 1 year, 3 years, and then just make use of your co-ops during that time as well. You just would not have that available to you after you graduate. So there's a couple of different options. We do have an international co-op advisor specifically for international students who are asking these kinds of questions. So she knows way more than I do and can provide a lot of support about that. All right, next question. What to do for extra scholarships for international students? I recommend, and another question, additional scholarships, and another question, additional scholarships. All right. At this point, I recommend talking to your territory manager. Uh, that's where I'll leave it, but they will be able to advise you better on scholarship opportunities. Um, I'll go ahead and say the territories for each person if you're not aware exactly who that is. So Hannah manages the Middle East and North Africa, as well as Southeast Asia, except for Vietnam. I manage Latin America and the Caribbean. Lynn manages students within the international students within the United States, as well as Canada. Zion manages students coming from Europe or Central Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa. Tan manages our students from Vietnam, Grace our students from China, and then Sanjay and Gitanjali both work with the South Asian market. All right, so I would just recommend reaching out to them regarding additional scholarship information. Let's see. Can I apply to any additional scholarships or financial aid? Same question. A lot of scholarship questions. Are there any, and I totally get it. Yeah, it's expensive. The dollar is very strong right now, which is not good for international students because it's competing against your own domestic currencies. Are there any possibilities to get enrolled in the honors program after starting as a student? I think that's what you did, Mohammed, right? Could you touch on
Yeah,
that a little bit? How did you
yeah,
enter?
for sure. So I didn't get into the honors program originally, and then I believe I applied my first year and I still didn't get in. But when I applied about last fall, I got in finally this semester. So you can definitely reapply.
How was the application process? Or is there anything that you did to stand out or anything else you want to share about that?
Yeah, for sure. So when I originally applied the first time, I had no like extracurricular involvement. Like I just went to like some clubs here, like the student organizations, and that was about it. But I got involved with the library, and I would say that's really the main thing that helped me get in.
Sure. Thank you so much. And let's see, another question. In case I'm working part-time with a company based outside of the US during my undergraduate years, do those work hours still get counted in CPT, OPT? That's a very good question. I would probably go to international services to ask that and make sure that they don't. So this is international services. You'll hear from them. I would make sure to ask them. My somewhat educated guess is that that would not count against you, and that yes, you can work with international companies so long as it's not based in the United States. I'm about 85% sure. I'm pretty confident, but I would verify with them that you can do that. Let's see, another question. Is it compulsory for us to live on campus all 4 years? And also the living expenses that were mentioned, does that include utilities, food, etc.? So, no, you're not required to live on campus all 4 years. Only, where's housing? I don't know what slide I want to show. Only during that first year. Um, Only first year on-campus housing is required. In fact, I'd probably recommend you move off campus in the following years just because it's a little bit less expensive than to live on campus. Um, and then what was the second half of your question? Oh yeah, does that include food, utilities? Yes, everything is included in that. Mohammed, you're getting a lot of questions about your honors
Oh,
application.
yeah. So semester that I had accepted. So last fall I applied, fall 2024, and I got it accepted in winter break, I believe. So that was when, yeah.
Nice. So that was a from one next semester to the next. So if you're starting school here in fall 2025 and you're not in the honors program, you could probably apply to enter spring 2026. I imagine is what that timeline would look like. All right. A lot of questions about honors. This is awesome. How did being enrolled in honors change your experience in university? I'm happy to talk about my experience since I was in that program. Um, so for me, it was life-changing. I mentioned before I was able to go to Argentina and work for this company developing satellites. I would not have been able to do that if I wasn't in honors and I didn't get some of the additional funding that was available from them. The main thing that they do is facilitate any sorts of experiences that you already want to do. So let's say that you're interested in um, doing research on, I don't know, how pasta has developed and how it's influenced the culinary experience of people in Italy, and how that affected immigrants to New York City in the 1900s or something like, I don't know what, if that's your particular interest. Chances are it's going to be hard to get money to do that sort of thing. The honors program might be able to assist you in developing a proposal, finding grants, and then ultimately getting money to be able to have that experience, do that field research, and do that. It's not entirely just research. They have a lot of experiences on their own, such as classes related to leadership, um, related to volunteering or developing your own community and becoming a global citizen scholar. That is what they're looking to do to develop you into someone that makes the university and makes the world a stronger place. So in whatever capacity you want that to be, they will do their best to support you. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, Mohammed, on that. Anything that you've seen so far through your first month in the honors program?
Yeah, so they do like they send out emails about like events and stuff. Like recently, I think they did a movie night, so those are definitely a lot of fun. And I look forward to doing a lot of my honors experiences because since I just got in, I don't have many right now, but those also seem fun.
Sure. A few more questions. Can I apply to honors program right now? Unfortunately, no. If you were not offered to enter the honors program, you'll have to wait to apply in the future. Um, but some students were selected to enter the honors program for this fall semester. There was another question on, oh shoot, on living expenses. So let me go to that. Sorry. Living expenses is shown as 17,999. Where on the website it shows a range from 14,000 to 15,000. So how much do we need to pay? Great question. So as I was showing on the website, what you literally physically pay to the University of Cincinnati is that 14,000 to 15,000. That is for your room. That is for um, unlimited access to food. That's water, electricity, Wi-Fi, like the basic utilities. That is what that money is for, and food. And I think there's like cleaning once a week or something, depending on where you are, but whatever. That leaves about $2,000 to $3,000 extra. This number, again, is coming from the Ohio State government. It's not coming from the University of Cincinnati, so that's not something you have to pay, but it is something you have to show to get your I-20. The assumption is that you'll probably spend $2,000 to $3,000 on stuff like, I don't know, movies, haircuts, buying new shoes, buying a new backpack, whatever, travel. They're just thinking like that is a reasonable number for what you can expect to spend in a year living here. Hopefully that answered your question. Last question. Woo. What to do about extra scholarships for international students? Talk to your territory manager. So if you have questions about scholarships, please just reach out to the person that is representing your particular territory or part of the world, and they'll be able to guide you on what you can do in that respect. So that's everything that I have. I think I'm a little bit over time, 10 minutes. Thank you all for joining. One last question. How much can you save living off campus? Ooh, either of you want to take that question? I'll toss it to Miguel. Or Mohammed. Yeah, either one.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a difference between living on campus and off campus. I mean, expenses. It really depends on what you're looking for. Of course, you can stay at a nice apartment, and that's going to be pretty much the same price. Or you can find a group of friends, buy a house, well, rent a house, and you can split the expenses. Usually, that would be a little more convenient for most students. Um, since you're more, you're paying less, which kind of makes sense. But there are also different um, apartment buildings around UC, which helps a lot. So it really comes down to what you would like, what your budget is looking like, and what you would like to do. If you would like to live in a house or be in an apartment, either way, I would highly encourage to find a group of friends who you really get along with. I feel like roommates. Um, it's a very important experience and a very important part of your UC experience. So yeah, find a group of friends and depending on what you would like to do, prices would vary. Usually they go a little cheaper, but yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. All right, I'm gonna do last question just because there's a lot, a lot more going on. And we probably have to get going, but can you tell me the difference between, can you tell me about the mechanical engineering and stuff related to systems engineering? That's a very specific question. Basically, they have different academic programs. I'm going to show this just really quickly for everyone in case you haven't seen this. If you go to, let's see, if you just go to the UC website uh, here, and you just scroll down a little bit, it says, what are you interested in? You have your programs here, let's say bachelor's, um, and you go down to, let's say, mechanical engineering, and you click learn more. There's a lot of information on these pages. So here's mechanical engineering. We're going to go down to the bottom. Something that's very interesting, if you haven't seen it, is the curriculums. So all of the programs have their curriculums published, and you can click on the page, and it will load the exact classes that you need to take. So then you can compare one major to another if you're thinking about like, maybe I want to do something a little different, or I want to learn more about it. Um, and that allows you to see kind of what the expectation for classes are that you will need to take. And then beyond that, um, there's also a course catalog, University Cincinnati. You also get course descriptions to see what, let's do this one. Okay, if you go to Browse Course Catalog, you can look up all of these classes. So if you're like, oh, what is kinematics and kinetics of machines? Um, you can go ahead and go into this website and say like, K. Oh no, it's not K, it's M. M. Where is it? Here. Okay, kinetics. Here we go. Kinematics and kinetics of machines. And then it will give you like a paragraph or two paragraphs of what it actually is. So this is like dynamics of particles, systems of particle, whatever. So that's might be something that can help you learn about mechanical versus systems, a little bit of what the difference is. Um, all right, so that's everything I've got for you guys. Thank you all for your time. I really appreciate you all being here. Oh, yeah. Stephanie, please.
I'm sorry, Seth. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Sure.
The minors, I don't know. Like if once that I got enrolled in the program of maybe my major, then I have to enroll in the minor, or once that I in the university, I have to enroll in the minor, or I don't know about that part.
Great question. So the question is majors and minors, how do they work? If you want a double major, if you want a minor, how do you do that? Miguel, Mohammed, I don't know if either of you guys have done that or know anyone. If not, I'm happy to answer.
I'm planning on doing a minor in statistics, and I talked to my academic advisor about it, and he said that according to the classes I've taken, I've done a lot of them already in my major, and there's just a few classes that I'm gonna have to take toward like the end of my major, so like maybe year 3 or year 4, and that would cover the minor as well as the major.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Perfect example. Mm.
Sorry. Um, well, my freshman year, I remember, I got in EC and I was gone as I think it was like something exploratory within the Linder College of Business. So I did not have a major set. You can always change that later on. I believe depending on what school you go to. If you go to the business school, if you go to engineering school, you're gonna have to take a few classes that are required for all majors. So you would have time your first semester to kind of like figure it out what you do. I would highly encourage talking to your advisor. They really know what they're doing. They help a lot. If there's something that you're interested in, especially if it is, let's say you want to specialize something that could be a major, minor would be a little more, I think it is 2 or 3 classes difference that you wouldn't have to take to call it a major. So yeah, you would have time if you did not pick a major or minor right now, you're totally fine. You can always do it later on. Your first semester, I believe. So you're in spring semester, you would have your major and minor set on your profile. So, but yeah, keep in touch with your academic advisor. They really help a lot. And yeah, that has been my experience so far.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, academic advisor will know how to help you and how to get you there. And I will just say for everyone's benefit, it costs the same. Once you're a student, like you pay tuition, you take what classes you want to take. You have to be advancing towards your degree, like you have to get a degree in the end. But if you want to take classes in statistics or something else, you can do it. Or piano, go for it. Um, and if you want to get a minor, go for it. Costs the same.
Okay, Seth and guys, thank you so much for the answers.
Sure. I think we should probably wrap this up. I'm sure Mohammed, Miguel, you guys have some stuff to do as well, classes probably. So I really appreciate both of your time. And thank you everyone for joining. I will be posting this on YouTube, as I said, and then we'll be sending out an email so everyone can watch this online. And if you have more questions, again, talk to your territory manager. That's what we're here for. That's what we do. We can connect you with any current students or anything like that. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.